Members, I have the list of retirees. We have one here today that is going to honor us with his comments. Senator David Tomassoni was started in this body in the year 2001, served 22 years. That is a total of 7,810 days of service to this body. Total legislative experience is 10,730 days worth of total experience. With that, it is my honor and privilege to introduce Senator David Tomassoni.
Thank you, Mr. President. You have done a good job presiding over the Senate, and I appreciate you keeping my shovel and helmet in the President's office. Members, at this time last year, I wasn't contemplating retirement. I figured if Senator David St. Jem could work until he was 100 years old, then I could do it too. As you know, things have changed drastically in my life. The good news is, I wasn't on the list of senators that you honored a few days ago. God rest their souls. The bad news is, all of our names will eventually be on similar resolutions sometime in the future. Being a state senator is an honor and a privilege that comes from the highest source of appointment, a vote of the public. I treasure the time I have been able to work in the Senate. And I use the word work, because this is serious business. Doing the people's work comes with a lot of personal sacrifice and responsibility and is oftentimes hard on family, but it also has its allure. The positives outweigh the negatives in my estimation, and if you enjoy what you do, you will never work a day in your life. Needless to say, I have enjoyed my work here. It's fulfilling, fun and rewarding, but not rewarding in the way of making money. Certainly, no one does this job because of the money. There's something honorable about having a title like senator, though. Just don't take yourself too seriously. The axe can fall quickly if you don't treat the position with respect and humility. When I first came over to the Senate, after serving 8 years in the House, I quickly realized all senators had the same first name. Hi, Senator. Good morning, Senator. How was your weekend, Senator? I guess it comes with the territory. Makes it easy for staff and lobbyists. Just remember 67 faces. You don't need to know one name. How are you today, Senator? It's pretty amazing the breadth and scope of people we run into in doing this job. When I first got elected to the House, I was asked to serve on the Education Committee. It was at that point that I realized what a sheltered life I had led. You mean everyone does not have a mother who has breakfast on the table for you in the morning? We meet people from all walks of life, from the most downtrodden to the rich and famous. The average person has no idea what we do or how extensively we affect their lives. But through it all I have met and become great friends with many people. Tom Ricavina became my best friend, and we did everything together. I could tell you stories for hours, but I remember Dick Cohen's retirement speech of 47 minutes, and I promise not to go that long. I did win a bet with John Jasinski, who thought Dick would speak less than 30 minutes. But I digress. Tommy had a passion for this job like no one I have ever seen. I had to stop answering the phone at 6 a.m. so he wouldn't call me at that time. We lost him too early. I have missed you, my friend. See you in the afterlife. Another classic personality who was another good friend was Jim Metzen. What a beauty he was. Our connection was hockey, and you may not know this about him, but he is still one of the top goalies to ever play in the state high school hockey tournament. He came into my office every day to compare neckties. His were always nicer and more expensive. I miss him too. I imagine, about now, you probably don't want to be on my best friends list. But that is what happens around here. You get to know people, and for whatever reason, they are suddenly gone, only to be replaced by someone you may or may not get to know. I have been blessed to have many people hanging around my office. I would like to think it was my glowing personality, but I think it had way more to do with food and drink. I have gotten to know some of you very well, and I'll have to tell you that I have formed special bonds with Senators Jasinski and Hoffman. I even know their families. I can't take the time to mention all the people I consider to be great friends, but I do have to thank Senator Eric for taking the reins on my committee this session and leading it to a successful bill. Thank you, Jason, for your hard work, loyalty, and friendship. And then there's Senator Bach. Not only has he been in the legislature for 28 of my 30 years, but he allows me to employ his wife, Laura. Needless to say, we have been through a lot together. When you represent a mining region like our beloved Iron Range, you represent some of the greatest and hardest working people in the state. History credits the Iron Range with winning 2 world wars, building the country's roads, bridges, skyscrapers, and infrastructure. Mining has built our Iron Range schools. The iron runs deep. How many of you knew that mining taxes paid for the original construction of the Capitol? If you didn't know that the Iron Range paid for the Capitol, then I must be shirking my duty. The mining and logging industries provide some of the best middle-class jobs to be found anywhere, yet we are always one recession or economic downturn away from massive layoffs. When times are good, they are very good. But when they go bad, they get very bad. Now, think about this. Throughout all these years of service together, this is the first time that Tom and I have been seat mates. It might have something to do with this independent caucus business. And then I missed this whole session, and we didn't get to enjoy each other's company. We have accomplished a lot together. Tom, you did double duty this year, not only carrying your entire legislative package but carrying mine too. For that I can't thank you enough. You are a great friend and a first-rate legislator. You know, when Paul Gazelka came to the Iron Range on unrelated business, we met for lunch at McDonald's. During the height of COVID, drive-up dining was the only option, so we ate in the front seat of my car. There was truly no agenda, yet one thing led to another, and the rest is history. So, thank you, Paul, for making the last 2 years possible. Now, having the office we have was Tom Bach's idea. I told him that he built the Senate office building and we had to office there. But he convinced me that Laura would like the Capitol better, and because I had seniority, I got the biggest office. I have a lot of people to thank. My committee administrators have been Cap O'Rourke, Scott Sandy, Tricia Leet, and Tom Brennan. Senate Counsel Dave Jensen, Dan Mueller, Greg Knopf, Carolyn Fontaine-Doyle, Hannah Grunwald, Joan White, partisan staff Craig Janezik, and Dave Frazier. I know I have forgotten someone, so please know that your work is greatly appreciated. It's my memory that needs work. And then there's Laura. She's been my legislative assistant for 22 years straight. Many of you may not know this, but Laura has been with me longer than she has been with Tom. Through all those years we maybe had one minor spat, and I'm sure I was probably to blame. Some people have described our relationship like that of a brother and sister. So, imagine my surprise when we took those proper behavior classes, and they told us that we cannot say things like "How was your weekend?" Well, Laura is the best. Super organized and efficient. Hell, there were times when she would get things done before I even wanted them done. We have had a good ride. Thanks for your loyalty, friendship and love. I deeply appreciate all you have done for me. You always managed to make me look good, and for that I could never have asked for more. And to each and every one of you, thank you for allowing me to continue to do my job this session. But for COVID, I might not have been able to participate in this year's session. Think about it. COVID is the reason we are now a Zoom society. In some ways, these remote meetings have allowed us to do things heretofore we not only thought impossible, but they were against our rules and not allowed. How nice and convenient it is now for someone from the Iron Range or Thief River Falls to provide valuable testimony without having to drive 4 or 5 hours, stay overnight, only to be allowed 5 minutes to testify. It's been a game changer. Now don't get me wrong, COVID is one of the worst things that has ever happened to our society, but I guess, out of bad, some good always comes. By the way, if you haven't done so yet, get vaccinated and boosted. So, thank you all again for allowing me to finish my career with dignity and pride. I want to especially thank Senator Miller and Senate leadership for making the seemingly impossible so simple. The Majority Caucus has welcomed me like one of their own, even if I didn't always vote with them. Your respect for me did not go unnoticed. And that is the same respect I received from the Minority Caucus. There were so many wonderful things said about me during the ALS bill, by both sides of the aisle, that I can't even begin to express the proper appreciation. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Finally, you can't do this job with any effectiveness without interacting with lobbyists. And because lobbyists are an integral part of the legislative process, we get to know some of them very well. I don't even want to start mentioning names, as I will undoubtedly forget someone that I should mention, but they play an essential role in fact-gathering, and are one of the groups of people we meet. The relationships can be lasting. They have a job to do, and oftentimes they are our only source of information. So, I thank them for their help. If you want to have fun, call a meeting with 2 lobbyists on opposing sides of a controversial issue. Then sit back and enjoy the show. Sparks will fly. Guaranteed. In closing, many of you attended the final Iron Range party with me as the chair of the Iron Range delegation. The outpouring of support, friendship, and love was overwhelming, so much so, I am at loss for words to describe it. I think the generosity, kindness, and raw emotion is something my family and I are humbled by and will never forget. I have received so much well-wishing, financial help, and prayers that it is gratifying to know that there is so much good still left in the world. Once again, I can't thank everyone enough. I do have to give a special shout out to my very good friend, Dick Cohen, for organizing, producing and being master of ceremony. When he went over his plans with me, I was convinced there was no way he could pull it off in 2 short weeks. Dick, along with Laura and others, put it all together. I guess you could say it was a huge success. Once again, my gratitude is boundless to everyone. As I mentioned earlier, this job can be hard on families, especially if you live in rural Minnesota, several hours away. My family was no exception. When I think about the way it all started, my dad hand-painted 400 signs on half-inch plywood in his garage. They were heavy. That was a gesture of love. Of course, it hasn't always gone smoothly. But we made it, and I have to thank the entire family, my wife, Charlotte, and our children Chantel, Dante, and Danny, for everything they have had to endure due to my absence. I guess the ultimate culmination came with the passage of the ALS bill earlier this session. All of you have been a part of that, and it would not have gotten done without the support of each and every one of you. But I have to give a great big shout out to my kids for taking care of me in this last year or so, as they have gone above and beyond taking care of me. My sister, Mary Jo, and her husband, Richard, deserve the same thanks. So many people have stepped up to help, and I am eternally grateful. So, Mr. President, members, thank you for accommodating me today as well as all session long. 30 years went by fast, and I wish my successor all the best. Thank you very much.